Next gen for some of us has already begun, but for some of us it's just right around the corner. So I thought it'd be a great way to celebrate all the fantastic game experiences we've had over this last generation by sharing my 10 favourite games of this past generation. A couple of caveats. There's a few games I just haven't straight up got to yet, unfortunately, like I haven't played The Last of Us because I just don't have access to that game, and there are also a few games that I just haven't played enough of to really justify throwing them on this list. Like, I haven't beat the story mode in GTA 5 yet, and I haven't really played enough into Dark Souls to justify putting it on here. Unfortunately, I'm just one man and I can't get to all the games, but I try to at least play everything that I can and be as fair and comprehensive as I possibly can. So with that in mind, let's begin! It would be pretty hard to argue that the line of Batman Arkham games are not some of the best licensed products based on a well-known and well-respected icon ever. Because, you know, the Batman. The Arkham series of games are a series of stealth action games which beautifully balance satisfying stealth and visceral melee combat, and weave that all around an authentic feeling Batman universe. Now, I'm putting Arkham Asylum on the list personally, as that was my favourite of the three, and if you want a more detailed explanation as to why I picked that over City, I can talk about that in the comments or something. I don't want to turn this into an Asylum versus City debate, because it's not really what this video is about. It's more about celebrating the fantastic games that the Arkham games are. The combat is still the most satisfying 3D hand-to-hand combat system in the entire industry, and every new game that comes out with a hand-to-hand combat system is trying to emulate the feel of Batman smoothly moving from thug to thug in a beautiful, harmonious mismatch of fluid grace and face-punching action. The stealth works equally as well, as Batman can grapple around the environment with ease and also has a lot of nifty gadgets to help you along your mission. Outside of how the game plays, the game also contains many of the Batman mythos' most iconic characters such as the Joker, Bane, Poison Ivy, Killer Croc, Harley Quinn, and of course Scarecrow, who has some of my favourite sequences of all time in this game. And whilst the boss fights themselves are kind of underwhelming, honestly, the way they handle the characters is nothing short of masterful. And that's kind of what it boils down to. This game is just a master of its craft, and it really makes you feel like the Batman, more so than any other game in existence. And for that, I thank you. This may come a little from left field for some of you, but for ones who've actually played Rayman Origins, you'll understand why perfectly. Rayman Origins is the best 2D platformer of the last 15 years, and it's also one of the most beautiful games ever made. The engine that this game runs on is just ridiculously beautiful. Like, ridiculously. The colour and fluid animation of the hand-drawn art is an absolute joy to see running in motion. And it's not just a pretty face, it has the mechanics to back it up. Like I claimed just a second ago, Rayman Origins is the best playing platformer for a very, very long time. The way the game flows from platforming to combat to platforming in such a seamless way is just a joy to play. If I had to score this game, it would be as close to a 10 as I could possibly give, because there's no conceivable fault with this game. There just isn't. And you've probably noticed that I've used the word joy a couple times now, and that's pretty much my opinion boiled down to a single word. Rayman Origins is just an all-round joy to play, and it leaves its more prolific rivals such as Mario and Sonic in its dust.
Can it wait for a bit? I'm in the middle of some calibrations.
The Mass Effect series has arguably been one of this generation's most successful series, and it's also a fan favourite for a lot of people, including me. And even after Bioware attempted to sabotage their own series a little bit with the last game, it still remains one of the best new series to come out of the last 10 years or so. My personal favourite, as it is for many people, is the second installment, Mass Effect 2. The universe that Bioware built around Mass Effect is one of the most expansive and one of the most interesting we've seen in a sci-fi setting in gaming yet. I'd argue one of the best of all time. I think Mass Effect 2 was the pinnacle of Bioware's writing, and it contains the most and the best of what the series had to offer. The characters in this game are some of the best we've ever seen in gaming. It brought back all the fan favourites from the first game, like Garrus, Tali, Rex, Liara, and added some of the series' best characters in the second game, like Mordin, Thane, Legion, and of course Martin Sheen's Elusive Man, which is still one of my favourite villains of the entire medium because it's not his strength that's dangerous, it's his intellect. I also think the second game is the best blend of the great RPG but clunky roots of the first game and the stronger gunplay but RPG stripped result of Mass Effect 3. I feel it balances both of these rather well, and the world to explore is just so goddamn rich that you just want to explore every inch of it, speak to every NPC, do every side quest, every loyalty mission. Like I said, Mass Effect 2 is my personal favourite, but I would recommend just going through the entire trilogy. Just don't be concerned when it goes a little flat at the end.
Look, Mr. Bubbles, it's an angel.
Would you kindly remember the best first-person shooter of this past generation? Bioshock is arguably one of the most iconic games in recent memory. From the Art Deco broken beauty of the underwater civilization of Rapture to the range of deranged mental characters that make up Bioshock's universe. Bioshock is a straight-up amazing game, and a game you can absolutely not miss. The soundtrack here deserves a special mention right up front because it's one of the best soundtracks ever made. Absolutely stellar and adds so much to the atmosphere and experience of playing this game. And playing Bioshock really is an experience. The feeling you get while playing the original Bioshock is one that very few games have ever been able to accomplish. A combination of equal parts intrigue, wonder, curiosity, and sheer terror. Like the first time you see a big daddy in this game, you will soil your trousers. While the moral choice is a little more binary than I would like, the interaction with and between the little sisters, Adam, Andrew Ryan, Atlus, and all these other creepy motherfuckers in this game, there are so many amazing moments in this game, and like most good games, not all from a happy perspective. There is some really fucked up shit in this game, and I still get chills when I remember some of the audio logs in this game. It shows what appears on the outside to be a utopia for civilization to be a corrupt, scary, and horrifyingly dark place that makes it one of the most iconic and recognizable settings in all of gaming. It goes just to show how much of a crazy genius bastard Ken Levine is, having this whole thing mapped out. Like the way that Bioshock Infinite plays, and I didn't like the way that Bioshock Infinite plays like gameplay wise, but the way it plays out reframes the entire series. It's brilliant. It's just brilliant.
I know she's trouble, but she is smoking hot.
Not a lot of you probably played this game, and you're missing out, because Catherine is freaking amazing. A tangent of the very popular Persona series, which in itself is a tangent of the very popular Shin Megami Tensei series, Catherine is a game about subject matter you very rarely see attempted in the interactive medium of games at the moment. Stuff like commitment, relationships, romance, cheating, and marriage. Catherine is unique as it's not only one of the few games to tackle this kind of subject matter, it's also one of the few to actually pull it off. Catherine is personally my favorite Japanese game of this entire generation. The story is just so damn good, and the characters are also so well developed and super relatable thanks to the subject matter being tackled. Now, if you're not sure what kind of game Catherine is, it's essentially part graphic novel, part puzzle game, part horror, part relationship simulator. The game alternates between snippets of Vince's daily experiences that take place each evening at the Stray Sheep, the local bar where locals go to socialize, and 9 puzzle stages set during Vince's mysterious recurring nightmares, each growing more and more complex as he becomes more entangled in his betrayal, keeping secrets from Catherine, guiltily continue to sleep with the other Catherine, and desperately trying to figure out who he truly is and what he really wants out of life. As well designed as the puzzles are, and as brutal as the bosses can be sometimes, they also serve as a rare moment of gameplay and story integration, as they are a metaphor for the trials and tribulations of relationships themselves. You may make errors along the way, you may fall down, there may be setbacks, but you can continue to improve piece by piece, and eventually you become a better person, a better partner. One of my favorite parts about the gameplay is not only are the puzzles really quite clever, they will beat your ass. If you aren't constantly planning your next move carefully, you will fuck yourself into a corner so easily. But it rarely feels cheap, because it introduces you to each new mechanic and each new technique over time, giving you the time to master them before you really need to. It took me nearly 100 goddamn hours to get all the achievements for this game. Nearly 100 hours into a puzzle game. A freaking puzzle game. The gameplay is good enough that it's always enjoyable to play through the nightmare sections, but hanging around the bar, interacting with locals and the main characters is obviously the real draw of the game, and it always feels like a sweet, sweet reward for getting through the difficult sections of the game, that you're rewarded with some of this awesome story to digest, postulate and rationalize. If you are a fan of Japanese games, absolutely play this game. If you love puzzle games, play this game. If you just love fantastic stories in general, play the damn game. If I haven't teased you well enough here, nothing I can say can help. I just can't help.
Do you feel like a hero yet?
Spec Ops: The Line is probably the most underrated game of this entire generation in my opinion. On face value, Spec Ops: The Line looks like a pretty standard military shooter set in a sandy, rundown Dubai. A pretty standard rescue mission affair that you've probably played like a dozen times already. And trust me, the game knows you're going in with that expectation and is doing that on purpose just to fuck with you. Spec Ops: The Line has one of the best stories of any game I've ever played, and in the pursuit of fairness, I obviously can't talk about all the amazing things this game does in detail, as I highly recommend you go and pick up this game yourself and experience it for yourself, but I can at least give you a bit of a broad idea of what kind of game this is, as the marketing of this game just failed miserably to do it at all. This game is the best deconstruction of an entire genre of games that the gaming industry has ever seen. The game is as much about the exploration of the player motivation and the player behaviour as it is about the shoot bang. It asks you the question of why you're willing to accept all the atrocities that you commit in gaming. And trust me, you do some really fucking dark shit in this game. Like, if you're looking for fuzzy rainbows, then you've absolutely come to the wrong game. And it's very simple, it just asks you why. Why are you okay with what you're doing? Why don't you just stop? This game will take you so far out of your comfort zone, you'll need a telescope to see your comfort zone from how far out of your comfort zone you are as you experience Captain Walker's descent into literal hell. The game is an absolute masterclass of commentary on this whole wide range of issues that constantly plague gaming, and it's so refreshing to see a game that can finally take this shit and fucking run with it. I would recommend this game to everyone who wants a game deeper than shoot X number of Nazis in the face to win. It is so good, so good. Please play it, please. Please. I'm begging you, please. Journey is legitimately a once-in-a-lifetime experience. It honestly is. It is as much esoteric and spiritual as it is enjoyable and fun. It is as much a symbolic journey through life in interactive form as it is as a kinesthetic exercise. There is only one game in the world like Journey, and that is Journey. Journey, as far as I'm concerned, is a perfect game. I can't think of a single thing that I would add or take away from it. Anyone who says games are not art, look at Journey and tell me in my face that games are not art. I really hate having to put Journey into words because it never does it justice. It's actually impossible to do. So just know that Journey should be experienced by everyone on the entire planet, regardless of everything. Everyone needs to play Journey at least once. That's my opinion.
To paradise on whores' asses.
The Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings is the best RPG of this generation by far, in my opinion. It's a game that handles race, sexuality, morality, and many other different facets of adult subject matter, and weaves it all through this dark Game of Thrones-esque brutal world of poverty, beauty, prejudice, and political turmoil. This game does not hold your hand. It respects you as an adult and expects you to do this shit. You want to mark on the map exactly where your objective is? Man up, you pansy! You want to know if you're making a paragon or renegade decision that may come back to bite you later in the game? Quit your whinging and deal with it, you vagina. Hell, there is a difficulty mode where if you die, it will legit delete your game save. This game will not fuck around, and it really adds tension and gravity to everything that you do, especially as there are so many divergent paths the story can go. You have to be so careful with how you interact with characters because you can make things go south real fast with just one moment's loss of concentration. It teaches you how to master the game. You gotta read the mechanics, exploit the weakness of the enemies, and if you don't, you're fucked, so buckle up, kiddo. So many layers, from the dialogue system, whole crafting system, disguise morality system, alchemy system, there's so much here. Not to mention the cast of characters rivals the genre's finest. So many memorable characters like Yorvith, Triss Merigold, Soldat Tarsaval, Saskia, Dandelion, Zoltan, Letho, and of course, the Witcher himself, Geralt of Rivia. The game has such a great dark sense of humour, and the writing in the game is just some of the best you will see in any video game. The story is dark and bleak as hell, but so gripping and so entertaining. It all blends together to make one of the most satisfying RPG experiences you will ever experience. And if CD Projekt Red can take what made The Witcher 2 great, the great storyline, moral choices, the everything, the cause and effect, and apply that to a huge detailed open world in The Witcher 3, damn. Boners everywhere. Just a sea of boners.
A boat!
Get over it!
God damn this game. God damn this freaking game. The Walking Dead game by Telltale is a triumph of interactive storytelling, and an amazing game in its own right, and one of the best examples of what this medium can do when it takes real advantage of storytelling in an interactive medium. Your decisions. You are the one that has to live with the decisions in this game, and sometimes it sucks. Sometimes it's depressing as shit. But it's all on you. Choice is paramount in this game, and the story is freaking amazing, and the only kind of thing that a video game can pull off. Not a movie, not a TV series, a video game. The characters in this game are some of the best the entire medium has to offer, and they are equal parts crazy and rational, equal parts resourceful and naive, and most of all, they are just human. They're humans. And humans are imperfect beings, and this game absolutely highlights that. It asks you, what would you do in this situation? And the setting is relatable enough and the characters well developed enough for that to work. And then there's Clementine. Clementine may be the best character that's ever been written into a video game, straight up. I genuinely cared for that little girl. I genuinely do. And I can honestly say that is the one time that has ever happened in a video game. The Walking Dead is a masterpiece, straight up masterpiece. And it is a game that should be played by everyone. Simple as that.
I'm gonna hand you over to him and watch him tear you limb from limb.
And here we are. My favorite game of this last generation of gaming is the seminal Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead is the complete package. A single-player campaign executed with such forethought and precision, bringing a cohesion between the player and the game on a level that no other game has been able to achieve before, and a multiplayer suite with such depth and breadth that rivals any full-price multiplayer-focused title. If there was ever a game that was the whole package, it is Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead takes the best parts of what Rockstar learned about the GTA series and infuses it with the heart and soul of the Old West, bringing with it the most authentic Western game that's ever been made with such a fantastic slate of amazingly well-rounded characters. Not only that, the gameplay mechanics are fit for the John Wayne of yore, and the world is so well realised you want to pack up all your things and hit the road to New Austin today. That first moment when you ride into Mexico and Far Away starts to play, it's just chills. It's nothing like you've ever experienced in a video game, and the end of the game will be remembered for years to come. Red Dead Redemption is a game with such few faults. Great gameplay, great story, great characters, great world, great multiplayer, great co-op, great stranger missions. It's all around just freaking great. Red Dead is an absolute accomplishment of interactive storytelling, game design, writing, and a beacon of excellence reaching to the levels of something like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Red Dead Redemption is without a doubt my favourite game of this past generation, and absolutely deserves its spot atop this list. Absolutely, no question. And that's it. Feel free to sound off on what your favourite games are from this past generation, and what you're looking forward to in the next generation of gaming. That's all from me.